I remember when stealth games ruled a big part of the market in the 2000s, to be more specific. We had games like Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell, and hell, even Assassin's Creed was a unique, somewhat stealth-based game, at least in the beginning of its lifespan. And while I loved all those games growing up, especially Assassin's Creed, if you couldn't tell, nothing has scratched my itch for a modern, stealthish, sandbox assassination type game like Hitman. While I don't hear a lot of people talk about these games like most AAA titles, the fans are diehard, and for the most part, as the games came out, the games actually only improved, and I think just about every game in the series is pretty great, at least in one way or another. And since I haven't talked about these games on the channel yet, I thought it'd be fun to go over and rank every Hitman game, including the mobile games. If you like this video and you want to see more stuff I've done, like and subscribe, as I greatly appreciate it. So we got 10 titles in this franchise. Let's just get right into it with number 10. So at number 10 we have Hitman Sniper from 2015, a mobile game. And it doesn't really do much for the series. While most of the time, at least in my experience, mobile games never focus too much on a strict narrative, this is really just a sniper sim for your phone. You take out specific targets as 47 with a sniper, and, well, that's really it for the most part. I mean, it's okay. I'm not too much of a mobile gamer kind of guy myself, but I liked what they were going for, but compared to every other title in the series, it just really doesn't even come close, in my opinion. Now, coming in at number 9 is Hitman Go from 2014, the other mobile game. This one is actually pretty entertaining, if I'm being honest. It plays sort of like chess while bringing in a decent amount of elements from the mainline games. It's not much higher than Sniper, as you can see, but for me, this one actually has a challenge and takes more strategy to get through, and it's all around just more fun, at least for me, than I thought at least a mobile Hitman game would be. I can recommend it, as it's pretty decent, but like I said, personally, not much of a mobile gamer, and it just really doesn't even come close to the mainline title. It's pretty good, but I'm gonna have to just leave it at number 9. Moving on to number 8, we're gonna go all the way back to the original with Hitman Codename 47 from 2000. I hope y'all said goodbye to the OGs that are off talking shit in the comments. This is a tricky one. In all transparency, I was a little late to the franchise, so I didn't play this game until after I played a huge chunk of the sequels first. And even if this game was only on PC at the time of its release, which is ass in my opinion, I never had a good PC growing up to begin with, so I think even if I would have played it, I probably would have hated it because it probably would have ran like shit. But years later, coming to this one was honestly tough. This is probably one of the if not the hardest Hitman games to date. I mean, it's got to be the most difficult, whether it's because some of the mechanics were just plain janky or they really thought we were about it in 2000. It's a tough ass game, but you have to respect the original, because if we didn't get this game, we wouldn't have what we do today. But with respect out the way, I don't have much of a reason to want to come back and play this title, other than maybe a few levels, as there are some bangers in here, and if I had to pick my favorite missions, it would probably be Hong Kong, which was probably the hardest fucking mission in the game, but I liked it, and Traditions of the Trade, I think it's called. It's good, but way too difficult, more than it needed to be. I liked what they were going for, and maybe it was just a low budget, unprepared team or whatever have you. It's just not better than some of these other titles. At number 7 we have Hitman Absolution from 2012. Probably the most hated game in this franchise, the black sheep if you will, and I don't completely get why. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is an awful Hitman game with its more linear story and closed off missions, but something about the tone I kinda like. The story is fun enough, just doesn't make enough sense for the series. I mean, compared to the others down the list, yeah, it's bad, but not a game I wouldn't come back to. It's like playing through a fun, cheesy B action movie, and I kinda dig it. I will say the biggest complaint I have with this game, other than the broken ass disguise system, is the maps, or at least the missions. A good chunk of them are pretty forgettable and a little too closed off. Other than that, I do like to throw this one on time and time again. Maybe it's just a guilty pleasure, though I put it pretty high up on this list, so delete your comment. It's not a good Hitman game, but it's not a horrible game. I just have a small soft spot for this title. Like I said, not good, at least in the Hitman franchise, but it is fun to play once in a while, and you have to give it credit as a good chunk of the assets and kind of the gameplay from this game helped make some of the way better games that we will get to soon enough. Now moving on to number 6, we have Hitman Contracts from 2004. This is a interesting one. I'll say out the gate, this is probably the darkest, or at least the most gritty game in the entire franchise, and I really like it. But it's weird. The story is cool. I know I haven't talked much or talked at all about the stories with the other entries, and I probably won't that much down the list, because I don't really want to spoil stuff, and if I'm being honest, do you really come to these games for a crazy story? But either way, simple premise, 47 returns to his hideout apartment, and he's just bleeding out, having flashbacks to previous missions that we went through already, which really works as a way for this game to somewhat be a greatest hits kind of game, recreating a couple missions from Codename 47, and honestly, I kind of like it. There are a couple unique missions to this game, of course, but I love the idea here, as the game plays way better than Codename 47, and it gives you a chance to play some of the best missions from that title on console, as at the time Codename 47 was really still only available on PC. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's only available on PC to this day. Fact check me. I haven't played that one in a long time, so. It doesn't add much other than that to the series, except small gameplay things like, ditching chloroform for the syringe, which is now a staple in the series to this day, and plus, if you played the original, you know that chloroform shit honestly never worked. All in all, it's fun. It looks pretty decent, at least for the time it came out, and it plays pretty well. And if I had to say what my favorite mission was from this title, it's got to be Meat King's Party. That one was just a classic. But anyways, I couldn't put this somewhat of a greatest hits game higher than number 6, but it is still really great though. So coming in at number 5 is Hitman 2 Silent Assassin from 2002. This did what I think Codename 47 was actually going for. Maybe they just had a bigger budget this time around. I don't know. It's just way cleaner. It's still pretty clunky, but a lot of fun at the same time. And it was even more accessible as this game was actually on console and PC, which is, of course, always a plus in my book. The gameplay systems actually work-ish for the most part. It's definitely more strategic than just hoping you're lucky like it felt in Codename 47. I mean, there are some gameplay mechanics that are hit or miss, but again, with a game this old and with what they were going for, I think it's pretty good. Lots of great missions this game gave us, like the iconic basement killing mission, which is my personal favorite from this game, and from what I've seen, kind of looking back into this series, I'm pretty sure that's a fan favorite as well. It doesn't add much more than that. It really kind of just fixes issues from Codename 47, in my opinion. But this is a title I do like to come back to quite a bit for that classic Hitman feel, if you will. But down the road, they just kept improving, so it would be hard to put this one up any higher, but number 5 honestly isn't too bad. The simple story, while cheesy, it is pretty good. I love the story they were kind of going for with 47, and it's a great early take on the stealth action genre. You have to respect it, but if I had any negatives to say, when I really think about it, the suspicion meter is really jank. I remember that being awful. A lot of the times you'll just be doing nothing wrong, walking normally, you got your disguise on, and you just get gunned down in the street. It'll piss you off a couple times, that's for sure, but when it works, it's honestly pretty great. Now, this is where the video gets pretty hard for me. While I like a lot of the titles we just talked about, these 4 are just hands down the best of the best, straight masterpieces. A good chunk of these games are in my top 30 games of all time. It was really hard to place these, and my opinion on these titles changes all the time in my mind, especially with my number 1 and 2. So just know these do be flip-flopping a lot in my head for me, but nevertheless, these last 4 are perfect in their own right. It's just what I prefer, I guess. Anyways, at number 4, it's going to be Hitman from 2016. This is where the World of Assassinations trilogy started, and for the most part brought Hitman to the mainstream. even if I think they goofed it up a little, at least in the beginning. It's kind of a negative that doesn't matter now, but it kind of sucked. So to start with the negatives, and there's really only one, it was the whole episodic shit. And while we have the whole thing now, I just think that turned a lot of players off to the game, kind of out the gate, and you never want to do that. And I get why they did that, because this game is the definition of sandbox. There's so many options and routes and ways you can kind of go about it for each mission. They probably thought, do each mission as an episode and let the players master the missions throughout the month, and it just really wasn't the move, you know? At least in my opinion. But honestly, the only reason this is the lowest one compared to the other two in the trilogy comes mainly down to the missions. I like the other two games' missions just a little more. This game is still great, and it perfects the series in so many ways through variety, so much variety, very great and tight gameplay, and just beautiful, great maps. My favorites, if I had to list them, gun to my head, being World of Tomorrow and Showstopper, especially when you get to see 47 looking like this. But these last three just do it better. Still an amazing game, though. So coming in at number 3, and this was a really tough choice. It's got to be the newest kid on the block, at the time at least of making this video, Hitman 3 from 2021. I love this title. It's just beautiful. While I honestly can't add much, as it doesn't really change anything from the other two in the trilogy, for the most part, it's bumped up a spot purely for the missions. There's a lot of great ones here. My favorite from this game being A Death in the Family, where you take down multiple targets while there's this like murder mystery going on in this cool kind of old school looking mansion. It's so fucking awesome and cheesy, but really badass. Even the opener with Dubai in the high rise just goes hard as fuck and is beautiful. I mean, every map in this game is just gorgeous. Gameplay is perfect. This game is gold, but I'm being honest, the last two just hit the spot for me in every way. Now these last two, like I said, jump back and forth in my head all day. It was such a battle. It was really tough to make this decision, but I wanted to make this video. So number 2 is going to be Hitman Blood Money from 2006. This is the one that started it all for me. It was the first Hitman game I ever played, and it was one of the first games I got when I got an Xbox 360. The reason I wanted to get it was I played the demo, which plays the first mission or the tutorial, and that was free. And when I played it, I just had to get my hands on this game, and it just when you actually bought games based off of a demo and the cover of the game, I had to have it. I got it. It was like the third game I ever got for the 360, and I played it so much. I loved this game. I loved it so much that I hooked up my old PS2 that I just got rid of to get my 360. I hooked it back up and bought Contracts and Silent Assassin. This is just a classic gem from start to finish. It perfected everything that they were going for with the first couple games, giving us some of the best missions in the series. It was just banger after banger with missions like Death of a Showman, which I already mentioned. It's the first mission in the game, and it goes hard. A New Life, which is the one that you're just in the suburbs, dead in the middle of the suburbs, where my favorite route to go is dressing up as a clown. How can you not love that? The Murder of Crows, the famous Mardi Gras mission, which for the time this game came out was super sick and pretty impressive. Really dope to play. And my personal favorite, Curtains Down, the play performance. My favorite strategy for that one, that I'm sure you all did, was to swap the prop gun for a real gun, and you don't even have to take your own target out. It was just awesome. This game is just 10 out of 10 for me. It's fire, and it seems to be one of, if not the most praised game in the series, and for good reason. Controls pretty good, especially when you compare it to the last couple games before. It was cheesy, but serious enough. It was replayable as fuck, and all around the best time. I play this game at least once a year, usually. I love this game, but I didn't want nostalgia to cloud my judgment, as it usually does. But there's just one other game that's not that old that I also love dearly. My number 1, if you didn't guess it yet, is Hitman 2 from 2018. Like I said, the whole World of Assassinations trilogy really perfected the gameplay style and sandbox style of the series, making it almost endlessly replayable, but the thing that this title does better than the others is the missions. Every single mission is just a banger. From front to back, I love every mission in this game. Some of my favorites have to be Three-Headed Serpent, the Ark Society, that one is so badass, and the one that you all probably know, the Finish Line, or the racetrack one. The variety in which you get your target feels endless, and in a mission like the Finish Line with its dense crowds, which still is super impressive to see that many NPCs on the screen at once, it looks great, the maps are beautiful, the atmosphere and the vibe just make you feel like a true Hitman. This game is amazing, and while, like I said, this and Blood Money go back and forth in my head all day, there is no doubt for me, at least at the time of making this video, this game just hits the spot. And for me, like I said, at the time of making this video, it's my number one. So that's just my list, and I'd love to know your list in the comments below. And with that, what's your favorite mission and even strategies from this franchise? Let's talk Hitman in the comments below. I love this series, along with games like Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, Resident Evil. It's just such a big part of my childhood, these games. And I'd love to do more videos on these games, so if that's something you'd like to see, let me know. But anyways, if you made it this far in the video, thank you. You're awesome. If you haven't clicked away yet, I want to plug something really quick, if you got just a sec. I just started a Patreon for this channel. The link is in my channel's page. I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. There's not much there yet, as I just started it like a couple days ago, but it goes as low as $3 a month with 2 other tiers, one at $5 and boss level tier at $10. So if you want to support the channel in any way and get exclusive content, early access, as well as shoutouts at the end of each of these videos, and much more once I figure it all out. I hate to ask, but I want to put more money into the channel and make the best videos I can for you. So that's it, plug over. So thanks for listening to my rant. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to share, like, and subscribe to see more of what I've done and what's to come. But anyways, thanks for coming, and thanks for watching.